all. And thank you. Once again, thank you very, very much. Wherever you're logging in from, we are very delighted to have you all. As I look in, we are 34. That's a good number, and we expect more people to be coming in. I'd like to start by first introducing myself. I'm Elizabeth Gakuo. I'm a co-coach in STAWI. I'm part of the STAWI coaching team. You'll be meeting the rest of the team as we progress. And the theme of our candid conversation this evening or this afternoon or this morning, depending on where you're logging in from, is navigating the different phases of parenting. So would like to start by opening up this conversation by having us, the ones who've logged in, to introduce themselves. Depending on how you want to do it, you could unmute and introduce yourself. And we like to do it this way because we are a parenting organization. You start with your name, and then any children, number of children in your space, and their ages. So we'd just like to open up this session to all of us to then just go ahead and introduce ourselves. If you're not able to, you could drop a chat. You could drop the same information on the chat box and we'll be able to read it out. Please welcome to the introduction section. Hello.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, you can. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Beatrice Oyugi, mother to 3, 18, 14, and 8. Really delighted to be here.
Thank you, Beatrice. Thank you, Roslyn Munga. I can see on the chat you're you say you're a mother of 3, 19, 12, and 7. Thank you very much. I can also see Daisy. Daisy is a mother of 1, aged 1 year and 3 months. Thank you very much for logging in. We have Maureen, a mother of 9 and a 6-year-old. Thank you very much. We also have Halima Mohammed, mother of 3, aged 6, 4, and 2. Thank you very much. Those are from the chat. Anybody else ready to share on to unmute and share as we continue to introduce ourselves?
Hi, my name is Mohammed Golicha, a father of 4.
Thank you, Mohammed. Kindly give us the ages.
My age is 55.
Thank you too. The age of the children.
Oh, one is 28, 20, 18, and 12.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You have a huge Gen Z within you. This conversation will be very relevant.
Yes, don't joke with me.
Sorry, go ahead, Mohammed.
Okay, I'm okay. I'm on the road. I'm listening.
Thank you so much. Please stay on. We have a lot for you. We are trying to keep it within the season. We'll have very candid conversation about what has been happening the last, let's say it's a month now, what we're popularly calling the Gen Z movement. There'll be a lot of insights from our lead coach and our other coaches just around what do we do, how do we navigate this space, how is it affecting you, how are you managing it. We will open up this to help each one of us understand how best we can relate with our Gen Z and even the other generations, the other children within our family setting. So thank you, Mohammed, and thank you, everybody else. For those logging in, we are very happy to have you. Thank you for joining this candid conversation. We are at introduction, so you could unmute and introduce yourself, starting with your name, any children in your space and their ages. You could also chat, put up the information in the chat box. Please feel free. We want to hear as much as possible. We love to know where our parents are logging in from. Do we have somebody from the diaspora? Uganda, Tanzania, America, anybody? Would love to hear from you. Kenya has become an attraction, so we know we may be having people just really wanting to understand how we've emerged with such a fearless generation. So please feel free to speak up. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Evelyn. I am a new mom with an 8-month-old, but I'm looking to learn early and also provide the same information for children within that age group. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much, Evelyn. There's a lot for you. Even at
Hi.
8 months, there's still a lot. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm a father of 3, age 22, 18, and 10. I'm Robert from Kisii.
Thank you, Robert from Kisii. If I got you correct, welcome to this candid conversation and stay with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, from the chat, I have Grace Wanjiko, a mother of 3 13-year-old twins and a 3-year-old. Thank you so much, Grace, for joining in.
Hi, my name is Shiro. I'm logging in from Nairobi along Lower Kabete, and we have 3 children, 10-year-old son and 2 girls who are 8 and 5. Though I feel like the age of maturity is growing, like 10 going on 15 and things like that. It feels like they are starting to do things so much earlier than previous generations. So thank you for this space, and I'm looking forward to learning from and with everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Very interesting observation. We'll be able to unpack that too. And hopefully we will have opened up, will have helped you understand more. And I'm sure you'll be able to learn quite a bit. Thank you. From the chat, I have Anjoguna, mother of 3 beautiful girls. Twins, 17-year-old twins. Oh, sorry, twins who are 13, or a 17-year-old girl and twins who are 13. And then I have Nancy Karanja, not a parent, but an auntie, or beautiful, to a 13, 11, and 4-year-old. Thank you very much, Nancy, for being the auntie who's present. We have Alice, mother of 2, age 17 and 14. We have a lot of young teens, the teens, moms, parents joining in. We also have a new mom. She didn't say what her name is, but she has an 8-month baby. We also have Oliver Obwana, father of one girl, 9 years. Thank you, Oliver. We also have Christine, mom of 2, ages 19 and 12. We also have Joy, mother of 4 sons, 2 millennials and 2 Gen Z. The ages are 29, 29, 20, and 15. Thank you very much. I'll pick up one more. We have Sylvia. Sylvia Yogo, mother of 3, 15, 12, and 5. Thank you, Sylvia. We also have Marsha Vaughn, logging in from the US, Illinois. Thank you. I'm a family therapist working with children and adolescents ages of 18 and 16. Thank you, Marsha, for joining in from Chicago. We also have Barnabas Nkunga, logging in from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Gen Z here at 27. I presume that's one child at 20 who's 27. We have also Sachita, mom of 2 boys, 2 boy 5 year and girl 10 years. Thank you very much for sharing all your information and your introduction. Maybe I'll read a couple of more, and then we can do a bit of housekeeping. We have Sylvia Yogo, mother of 3. Sorry, I had read that on Sylvia. We have Edda. She has children 34, 33, 27, and 25. Beautiful. Okay. So far, I hope I've read everybody's introduction. Do we have anyone else coming in before? So as we continue to join in, welcome. We are very delighted to have you on this candid conversation. Just a few housekeeping. Kindly, when you log in or during the session, keep yourself on mute. Would encourage you to put on your video if you can. Would love to see your face. Yes, would love to see your face. And so that as we continue to engage, we will, as we continue to engage. So anybody still? I'll read 2 more, then we're going to move into our session. We have Priscilla logging in from Kajiado, mother of 3, 16, 11, and 7. And then we have Jesusa, I think I read, Jesusa Malewa from Dar es Salaam, a father of 1 daughter. I think I'd read that. Okay. Once again, welcome to this session. I'd like to hand over this, our next session to the Stawi CEO, founder and main coach, Dr. Carol Chakua. Thank you very much. Welcome, Dr. Chakua.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Liz. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening everywhere. From wherever you're logging in. Great to have you, great to see all of you. Always exciting to just see from the different parts of the country we are coming, and looking forward to an engaging session. We'll keep referring it to an evening because it's evening here, East African time. Just so you know, this is being recorded as well. But it's a pleasure to be here. And thank you so much, Elizabeth, for starting us off. and getting us to know each other. And I think I just want to take a moment to highlight the team from Stawi that is here. Most of you have your videos on. Just a quick unmute and give your name, and then we'll continue. Starting with you, Liz, again.
Thank you once again, Elizabeth Gakur. I'm a mom of 3, 17, a girl 17, a girl 13, and a boy who's 12 years old. Thank you all.
Jackie.
Good evening, everyone. Jackie Ambuga here, a mom of 4, 13, 9, 6, and almost 3 next Sunday.
Okay. I'm trying to see who is next. Halima. Oh, we're celebrating a birthday soon, Jackie. Halima.
Hi, yeah. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone here. I am Halima Ibrahim Golicha, logging in from Marsabit, the cradle of mankind. I'm a mother to many. It is culturally determined, however, I could not say the number, but the ages range from 6.5 to 19.5 years. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. Emily.
Hi, good evening. My name is Emily. I'm a mother of 2 children, almost turning 12 and 10, boy and girl.
All right. Awesome. Wangare and then Elijah.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Wangare Mwangi. I'm a mom of 1, she's 10, and I'm also a teacher of many. Nice to see all of you.
Thank you. Elijah.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good to have you. Good to see you. I'm calling from Maputo. I had to be part of this conversation this evening. Anyway, it's good to have the dad part of this team. My name is Elijah Odundo. I'm a dad. My firstborn daughter has turned 15. Then I also have triplets who have actually turned 11. So I'm a dad of 4 and really happy to be part of this conversation today. Happy to see everyone who's joined in, and I'm sure we'll be able to have a great time. Thank you.
Thank you, Elijah. Naomi, I don't know if you're able to come on video. You can say hello.
Hello, hi everyone. I'm not able to come on video, but it's so good to be here. Such quite a good number. I look forward to this conversation.
Thank you. Again, thank you and welcome everyone. It's important that you know who Stawi is and the Stawi team. For me, it's such a pleasure to see how we are growing. As Stawi, our vision is to create a community, and therefore most of the coaches that you're seeing came in as participants to plug into a program, and in keeping with the Stawi vision, we formed a community and they've stayed on. So I'm really truly honored to have this team. We keep growing. For me, that's such an amazing answered prayer, that we keep growing, because our desire is to take this Stawi concept, Stawi conversations into the community. And so we usually have candid conversations. We haven't had one this year. We had several of them last year. This year we had one open day. Today is a candid conversation / open day. And for the first time, everybody who is going to speak today on the panel is a member of the Stawi team. And that's just in keeping with the desire to grow ourselves, to speak the same language and then spread out, because even though they are Stawi teams in their own rights, there's so much that they're doing out there, and we'll be hearing about that. So welcome again. Thank you everyone for being here. We're looking forward to an engaging, interactive, fun, evening for each one of us, and it's our hope and desire that the expectation that you have will be met, and it will be met beyond your expectations. And so please engage, ask questions, critique, question, celebrate whatever is being said. Let's make this as interactive as possible. So allow me to just share the screen a little bit before we get into the actual conversation. It's just as Liz had said, turn off any distractions, keep your gadget on mute, so that we're able to engage in a way that is not, we are not interrupting one another. We like to say many things and give a lot of information. And so if you have a pen and notebook, or some version of it that is screen related, go ahead and pull it out. Please, let's keep this interactive, okay? The more we hear from you, the more we learn, and also the more we are able to share. And then just in a spirit of accountability, we are also going to talk about a program that we have, which is starting in another 3 weeks. So we will, in between the conversation, we'll also talk about this program. Full disclosure, we'll invite you to the program, and we hope that you will stay on to the very end, even as we talk about it. We will have question and answer at the end, but we'll be checking. We'll try and collect the questions and try to put them in ways that we are able to respond to them. The team will keep checking and seeing if there is any question that has not been answered. But if we do not answer your question, please unmute, okay, and ask it. So that's about it for this space. As usual, if you've been in any of our STAWI spaces, we like to just start with a mindful exercise before we start the conversation. So I would just like you to relax where you are, take a deep breath in and out. There is so much going on in our country right now. There is a lot. There's someone who said on Facebook, which curriculum is this? Because we cannot keep up with it. We were not told, we were not warned about this Gen Z curriculum. And so there's a lot going on, and sometimes there's up, and sometimes it's down. It's amazing how you can oscillate from hope to hopelessness just because of something that's posted out there. There's a lot of turmoil that's going on, a lot of emotional up and down, a lot of conversation that could trigger fear, could trigger anxiety, frustration, even anger. So let's just collectively take a deep breath in and out. If you can have just a little bit deeper breathing in and out. And just take a moment to connect with one or two emotions that you're experiencing in the moment. As we like to say here, there are no good or bad emotions. So whatever emotion it is, acknowledge it without any judgment. Any concerns, anxiety, but maybe you're just feeling joyful and peaceful and content. It could be any emotion. Acknowledge it without any judgment. As you breathe in and out, if there is any emotion you would like to release, you can release. Perhaps if there is anxiety, you can release it and receive what you would wish to keep you going for the next couple of minutes that we'll be here together, whether it's peace. Take a moment to receive it. And we just ask that you be present as we continue with this conversation. Again, we just like to check in to see where we are at, because based on what you respond, how you respond to this, then we'll be able to even tailor the conversation even more. So I would like the team to just drop the link to Menti. You can follow the link that will be dropped in the chat and answer the question, what is your current parenting dilemma? Remember, parenting for us, again, if you've been in this space, parenting is any role that you play that is nurturing. So you don't have to have children of your own. What is the dilemma you are experiencing as you nurture, as you influence the young people in your space? What is it? And I think you have up to 3 options as you put it there. I want to just be sure that the link has been dropped. It's not yet been dropped. May I request that we drop the link, the Menti link. And if you are able to, you can still go to menti.com and use the code 1735034. 1735034. Wangari, do you have access to the link? Kindly drop it in the chat. Oh, I had muted myself. All right, there we go. We have the link from the group. Let's see what answers are coming through. We have 2 responses already. Limited resilience, navigating peer pressure, balancing between pushing my teenage son to fulfill their potential and allowing them space to learn by making their own mistakes. That is so relatable. My goodness, that is so relatable. Even for me, who has a 15-year-old, I have not talked about myself. I will do that in the next slide as I'm introducing everybody else. But yes, parenting a teenager dealing with depression, that is real. And I find that sometimes in this space, especially when it comes to issues of setting limits and setting boundaries, it's very difficult. And one of the questions I hear is, how do I draw the line? How do I know that this is not just them bumming around and not wanting to do things, or them actually struggling with the diagnosis that they have of depression? It's a very uncertain space to be in. Getting to know them genuinely without being nosy. Oh, that's an interesting one. Yeah. Preteen who doesn't want to spend time with us, and that can be scary because that's a preteen and you're wondering they're not yet even teens, so what will happen during teen? Mentoring the glass children, including my own. Okay, I'm not very sure what glass children mean. Persistence is a dilemma for one. What are the future of my children now that the country is advocating? Negative peace. Okay. All right. Okay, my son is hyper and it's been hard when I see him being punished, because you understand your child and now you're like, that's just them being them. and other people may not understand them. I hear you. Getting to know them genuinely. Okay, we've done that. Frowning and grimacing when given instructions, the attitude coming through, okay? Helping to make informed decision, intergenerational dilemmas, communicating effectively. How do I heal myself as a parent? I hope the panelists are also taking note of these questions, and you'll be able to just throw them in as we have our conversations. Children not responding to guidance, wanting to do their own things, controlling your emotions when things don't go how you hope they should, balancing between discipline and nurturing them. We are always really trying to find balance. We're always trying to find balance. And sometimes, sometimes I like to address these things as we go, because when you really think about balance, ladies and gentlemen, balance is a one point. It's a one point in time. If you went to places like the market, when I was little and I was sent to the shop to buy sugar, the shopkeeper would actually put, that stone, 1 kilo stone on one side and the sugar. And sometimes he would go over and then he had to reduce until he found the perfect balance. And so when we are dealing with human beings that we are nurturing, who are so dynamic, how easy, how possible, how realistic is it to find that balance? And so what I usually invite parents is to think about it as sometimes we will do more of the other. But there are some fundamental principles that we're going to be talking about here that if you keep to and if you're consistent to it, it won't matter so much that you are doing too much of one over the other, as long as also you're too much of one in that moment. Okay, as long as you, in the bigger frame of things, you're abiding by those principles, then you're also able to parent with confidence. Because when we are looking at balance, most of the time what we are looking for is that being consistent in that balance throughout. And dealing with human beings and dealing with the way things are changing and so dynamic, my suggestion is we really just release balance and learn to be fully present. And as you learn to be fully present, you're actually able to know more and more that your child will not be traumatized because of one thing that you did or two. Okay, it is the consistency of the stable adult that will make a difference. So all this, I know we have 20 questions here, 20 answers, how to assist my child navigate various milestones. There's a lot of asking for balance, causing tantrums and never listening to me. I hope we can talk a little bit about tantrums today. Single parenting your young men without a father figure, how to manage their anger. I get this a lot also, just a lot of anger and pushback coming from sons who are being raised by moms only. Peer pressure, not conforming to norms, values, children pushing back. And you can see even it's just out there, our children are really pushing back out in the streets. And they've been emboldened. They are pushing back even in our homes. I mean, these are just a few of the conversations I'm having with parents right now. They're like, it's like that pressure has increased just a little bit more, even in the home. There's a level of being emboldened that our children have right now. And so thank you all for sharing. I know there's a few others in the chat as I put up the slides. Maybe Emily, are you able to read out what else is in the chat?
Yes. Marine Juguna is explaining the glass children.
Okay.
These are children who come before or after special needs siblings, and they tend to be shelved as the parents navigate this new challenge. Then there is Rose Wairimu, emotional and would cry over nothing. I think she means would cry over anything. Sometimes even in a discussion, they would cry. And another challenge is letting go of my girl as she join attachment, doubting if I have prepared her enough. This is from George Nduru.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you. Thank you for that insight, Mary. I actually didn't know that there was a name for those kind of kids. And yes, In some of our sessions, we've had parents who really do have that concern. Because even the very children, the glass children, speak out and say, no, you are giving too much attention to this child. What about me? Because I also need that. So I really get that. And what we usually do, because you already registered for this session, we usually just send you this, so that one of the reasons that we like to do this exercise is to just bring us all together in the commonality of the conversation that we are having, and to realize that you are not alone. And it's not from a place of minimizing what it is you're going through, but there's just something about you realizing that you're not the only one struggling, that lessons, that normalizes your situation to where you're like, okay, now there's nothing crazy here. Let me look for solutions. We hope that that's where you will go, that at the point of normalizing, then you're able to say, then what kind of information do I need to get out there? What kind of support do I need to get out there? And that there's nothing fundamentally the matter with me. So I just want to do a little bit of introduction. Again, thank you so much. So we will send this results to each one of you who registered. We will also send you a link to the YouTube, a link to the recording that we are having just now. So a little bit about myself. I am a mom. I have a 15-year-old son. I'm also a psychologist and a parent coach. I am the founder of Stawi Camp for Wellbeing, where our main aim is to provide what we call psychoeducation and parenting programs and wellness workshops for children and their parents. And parents, we mean anyone who has children in their charge. Our vision at Stawi is a community of caring adults who are committed to creating spaces for all kinds of children to thrive. And we do that by providing information, by continuing to grow our community. Again, really excited that we have a community that's growing, and we are inviting you to be part of this community. Some of you are practitioners in this space. We still invite you, because we do need collaboration is the way to go as we move forward to help and support the communities. So allow me to invite and to introduce each and every person here who is going to be on the panel. We have 4 panelists. What I'll do is I'll just quickly go through the slides, and then now I will invite them to talk a little bit more about themselves and what they do. Allow me to welcome Wangare Mwangi, who is a mom, a millennial mom. She brings a lot of energy into the Stawi team and a lot of different points of view and different perspective of thinking. Sometimes we tend to get rigid as Gen Xers and boomer parents. And she's very quick to give us the other point of view. And even before this conversation, I was having a long conversation with her about how we are not really getting it. And it's true, we're not getting it, you guys. We're like, see now, see, he said yes. See, he has met some of those. Why can't we just relax now and let things go? And then I really got a new perspective. And that's why I love being in this space, because I get to learn so much. And what I'm encouraging us is that we also keep an open mind. As much as we have our own ways of thinking, even concerning this whole revolution that is going on, one of the things I'm realizing is working for me is to just sit and listen, really listen, and then invite also the person I'm talking to listen to me and my point of view as well. I think we will go very far if we have these conversations at a one-on-one level, okay, as opposed to maybe even posting it out there and all, but just having those conversations amongst ourselves. Wangare is a mental health coach. She does some workshops within Stawi and outside of Stawi. She's the one who runs our Stawi Kids camps and also is part of the parenting program. She also participates in running the parenting program that we have as a parenting coach. Elijah is a dad, and we are so honored to have a dad who's been with us consistently since last year when we started these online sessions. Elijah is also a sports director at Jabali Sports Academy, a parenting coach, also working with Tawi, and a character coach. And he will tell us also more about that space. What we are really looking to hear is what's the dad's heart, even as we are parenting children in this season. Halima, all the way from Moyale and Nairobi and everywhere else. Halima is a traveling mom, a working mom, a busy mom, but also really learning how to stay connected to her children who are, again, like she said, different ages. She's also a counselor and a mediator, a parenting coach, working also with Tawi and other parents outside there, and an Islamic marriage counselor. She brings in a very brings in diverse skills into our space, an interesting perspective from a value space, and also being able to parent children, Gen Z and Alpha, from I think 6 to 19, or 6 to 19. Then we have Jackie. Jackie is a mom. She's a certified life coach. She's also a parenting coach with Tawi. She's also been involved in our teachers training program. We have a training program for teachers. It's called Tawi Captains. She's been involved with that, and also a parent coach. She also takes parents through our parenting program, and a counseling psychologist. Also a wide range of children in her space, and a homeschooling mom. So karibuni sana. I would like to just put this down. I have done my bit of introduction. Now I would like you to remove the spotlight from me and put the spotlight on the 4. Okay, you can still put me there, but let's add the spotlight if you're able to. Who else? Wangari. Are you able to add spotlight? And I'm looking for Elijah. Wangari, if you can see Elijah, you can put him on spotlight as well. There we go. I think everyone is there, right? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, karibuni tena. Please feel free, our participants, to put in your comments as we keep going. There's 76 of us here, amazing crowd. Happy to have you all. I would like to just start with Wangari, okay? Our conversation today is navigating the faces, and faces, PH, of parenting with confidence. For me, the confident aspect is very important, and we're gonna see how that is happening with our parents here and from the different spaces as coaches as well. How is that playing out for you? Can we start with you, Wangari? Tell us a bit about yourself, what you do, and what are your challenges as in parenting as a millennial mom?
Thank you so much, Dr. Cairo. I'm so happy to be here. As I said before, my name is Wangari. I am mom of a daughter who is 10. I have been working with Stawi Camp since 2022, and I have also been really working with a lot of the children who are brought to Stawi Camp. And, I think there's something. Yes, so I've also been working with the children who come over at Tawi Camp. And what are my challenges as a millennial mom? Well, first thing,
Kindly unmute, and then I'm gonna request some of you. I'm sorry if I call you out. If I see you muted, I'm gonna call you out. So just check so that we are able to pay attention as much as possible. Okay, all right. And if you're able to make Cisco co-host, please do that.
all right. Sorry for that. As I was saying, as a millennial mom, what are my challenges? One would be an overload of information and ideas. Sometimes it's hard to know which is the right technique to be using when we Google everything. There's too many answers, too many experts on everything, making it very important to know your own path because, again, too much information overload. Then there's also just finding balance in this time where you have to work and not a little bit, and you still have to have a conscious connection with your children. Balancing that as well is a really big thing. Finding a way to be able to just balance all these things. And the biggest of all is being in the digital age. It's so important for learning, it's so important for a lot of development, but then it has such a dark side. Finding again the balance of how much of it to use, where to cut it out, where does it really belong. I'd say those are the biggest challenges. And of course, just the usual fear and anxiety that sometimes you can have as a parent. Thank you.
Thank you, Wangari. I'm sure a lot of millennials will resonate with the too much information overload. That's really one of the main things that when I have millennial parents come into our space is it's so much, it's confusing now. And, you know, we actually look for information from baby center, you know, just even before you conceive, you're already looking for information. And so you're walking a journey with your child from 6 weeks old. This is what's happening. So by the time you have that child, there is already so much you're already searching. So I'm curious to know how you're navigating that space. But let me go to Elijah and ask, what are your challenges as a dad parenting? I think you have a Gen Z and the triplets are alpha, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. But I need to throw a joke even before I say a little bit. My Gen Alpha actually calling me, asked me that, are you a fossil? And I wondered, where is that coming from? Anyway, probably they already have a term for, you know, how do they call their dads and all that. But thank you so much, Dr. Carol, for this opportunity. Maybe just to speak to something that is on my title. I know, in fact, I have to say this. There's a friend of mine who probably came across the link pointing to this conversation this evening. And the first thing he asked me, is that you, Elijah? Because probably he was looking at the titles and he couldn't connect. Because I know maybe many guys probably knows me as somebody who does something else in terms of analysis, but I want to speak to that title. Actually, maybe some of the guys are seeing, oh, director, a sports director at the school, a parenting coach, character coach, but actually this speaks to my passion. This speaks to my heart, things that I don't even have to struggle doing. There's no drudgery when I talk about just working with kids. And as much as I did introduce myself that I have 4 kids, one being a teen and the others being Gen Alphas, that means they're about 11. And I also work with kids, you know, besides just my own biological kids. I work as a Sunday school teacher, and that brings me to that space. And what will have drawn me to that is just because that's very much passion that I have just around working with kids. And then at the moment, in terms of being a director at the school where my kids go to, we have an academy that is focusing on just trying to nurture the talents of kids in terms of sports. But one of the key things that has been so strong in my heart is that over and above the kids sharpening their skills on the pitch, these kids also need a lot of support in terms of being helped to develop certain skills, whether they are life skills or character strengths. And that has brought me into this space as well. And that's why, you know, that title that I'm a sports director, really for me, it's how can we support our children? And speaking to the question on challenges, as a dad, and there are a number of challenges, you know, just being a parent, being a dad to a teen and preteens. One of the key things that I've struggled with, and I think as many of us mentioned when we did the Menti, you know, something to do with social media, you know, just navigating around technology. How do you work with that? That has been one of my biggest challenges. And, you know, being part of stowy in one or the other has actually helped me to be able to handle this journey with a lot of calmness. And I'm sure as we have this conversation this evening, I'll be able to, we'll be able to speak to that as well. But that has been one of those. And even just the other bit that has been a bit challenge is, the balancing that I think one of us mentioned as well, where you want to be a friend, but at the same time, you want to be able to exercise authority as a parent or as a dad, So getting that balance is always a big challenge for me. So I do believe as we have this conversation this evening, we can probably see, okay, how has it worked for me? And I also see that, when I'm working with kids in Sunday school, or even the kids that we work with in the academy. And of course, by the way, when you talk about academy, there also are a group of young girls that are very passionate about football. And so we do character training for them. We do life skills training for them. And these are an age group of about from 12 to 18 or teens. Some of them might not probably even have a good base in terms of being parented. And therefore, as a team, as a group, we come in that particular space. We come in to stand in that particular gap. So it's something that I'm so passionate about, and that speaks to the titles that this evening you might be seeing under my name.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Elijah, Dad. And I think we resonate with those challenges, the balance. Friend, parent, I have my own ideas about that whole conversation about friend and parent, because we always like to want to put a label to everything. And I usually say, friend, I mean, English, just the word friend does not define the relationship that we are supposed to have with our children. It's very limiting. So again, for me, I like to put those words in disarray and say, why do we have to define the relationship we are having with our children? Why don't we just be the people of authority who are having a good relationship with our children, but also setting limits and being clear about those limits, and we continue? Why do we have to put friend and parent? But that's also a conversation that we can have for another day. But I know that we really also have that. No, you cannot be a parent, you can only be a friend. I'm like, I can actually be both, but I don't even have to put a label on any of those. What I know people really like to ask is, how do I put those boundaries in ways that that they will still follow through with those boundaries, but I still have a relationship with them that is healthy. But I don't want to speak the answers yet. I would like to know how you're handling that space, Elijah, and thank you for sharing. Let me go to Halima. Halima, what you do and your challenges as a busy, traveling, working mom. You're muted.
Hi. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, everyone, once more. I'm Halima, and I'm not only a mother, but I became a wife before a mother. I'm a parenting coach with Stowy Camp. I'm a certified professional mediator. I'm an addiction professional also, and I'm a trained counselor, a member of Kenya Counseling and Psychological Association. I've been serving people from all walks of life, and today I'm really very happy. I'm happy indeed to be here with you to talk about what I love most, what I like most. I work as an administrator also elsewhere, but where my heart is, parenting, counseling, helping others here and there. It is very interesting sometimes when it comes to working. You are a mother, you are a wife, you culturally belong to also a group and also have some activities to do. and then you are a parent here and there, and you are the only person. You are one person, not two in one, and you cannot be somewhere at the same time. I hear you all. When you posted on Menti your questions, I was hearing voices here and there, and it brought to my attention some of the questions in different homes, like, "Mom, where is my shoelaces?" Mom, tonight I'll come late. I'm going for a party. Mom, I said we go for lunch tomorrow to a certain destination. Another one coming in with a different, "Mom, did you pay my fees? Oh, we are going for a trip. You forgot to buy my snacks, Mom." You see, all this, and then you are one. And then you receive a call from your boss. The deadline for certain project is tomorrow, and we are having a webinar for presentation. From the high school, you receive a message. Tomorrow we will have parent meeting, and you forgot a long time ago. Now, where are you? How are you going to balance all this? So it is real. And we come to a question on when parenting start. When do parenting start now? The parenting, in my opinion, and as an individual, I think it started sometimes before even you conceive, because you ask, are we ready to have one? Because of the responsibilities you know ahead of you. Then after conception, the mother carries the baby every now and then, touching the womb, touching the stomach. All that is parenting still. You are giving the baby a womb. Then you come through the childbirth, the infancy, and then the childhood, then the adulthood. When it comes now to all these different stages, as a parent or as a caregiver, you are required to give total attention, if anything, to go by. You are required to nurture. You are required to support. But as a working mom, and maybe even as a working dad, where are you to do all this? My dilemma as a person is in timing now. Time, balancing the family time, my own me time. Nowadays there is all these terms coming up, me time. Leave alone the me time. Where is now the work time, me time, and the parenting time? I said I have a number of kids, which I did not mention how many, but my kids are between the age 6 and the age 19. And you see what is happening here in our country. One in the house is talking about, tomorrow we are not going to school. We will be logging in. The other one is saying, tomorrow I'm going to town. What? I will not listen to anybody. I will go to town. We have to fight for our rights. And then when I come in, you said you are going to town to fight as Gen Z? Yes, ma'am. What do you think? Give us fair. Tell them, no, you will walk to town if you want to go. Then the smaller ones, the Gen Alphas, asking them, when you go there, bring us chips. The Gen Alphas again, asking them, you want to go to Smoky Town? You want to die? You want to die? Me, I will not cry even when you die. You want to go? Then the other one say, you don't know what is happening. We are fighting for our right. Now, as a parent, you wonder, where do these come from? During my time, when I used to be their age, when mom says no, it is no. When mom says A, it is an A. And we follow suit. And that is how we grew up. Now, these challenges of communicating to a child this, and the child asks you, you say, don't do this. Why? Why, ma? I want to do it. So you have to explain. It is real and real time that we are getting different kind of challenges here and there. But at the moment, as we are going through all this, as a working, busy mom, sometimes I get dilemma. I travel. The kid asked me, why are you traveling every time? And how many days will you spend there? When are you coming back? When are you going back? And sometimes they say, Mom, today don't go to work. I want to meet you when you are home. I mean, when I come back, please receive me from the bus. And then your schedule is to travel. Like now I'm logging in from Marsabit town, and the child is telling me tomorrow, please be home. But the good part of it is that every one of them, each one knows where I am, at what time, and when I'm coming. The guilt comes with all this, asking, I want to have time to teach them the values and the virtues. I want also to communicate to them things in the right way. I wish to cook for them, but when will I cook for them? Sometimes they request me, Mom, cook for us chapati, but where is the time to cook for them chapati? Mom, take us to these places. When will I take you to that place? And I don't know now. So at some point, with all my knowledge, with all my expertise, with all my exposure, I pause and look at the watch. This time, it is, I don't know how to balance it. Let me balance it. And then I sit down and do few things here and there to help myself survive. And before I go into depression, I rather balance things here and there. So in nutshell, it is balancing work-life time, family time. At the same time, we are living in a very digital world, a very changing world, not like before. During my time, it's different. During other people's time, I know even here it is different. But nowadays, the new thing, I mean, the setting in the Gen Zs with a lot of energy here and there.
Yeah, thank you, Halima. Thank you. I mean, I know there's a lot that is heavy in your heart with the extent of the dilemmas that you have. What I'm hearing, the guilt that comes with trying to juggle all that, and what I can see that there are people here who are resonating with you, Halima, saying, you know, Priska says, my female office colleague and I have a joke. I want to be a man in my next lifetime. They feel you. They totally feel you. And Rukia says, you know, just knowing that you cannot have it all. And I'm sure there's a lot that you are also doing in your space to navigate these spaces with confidence. We're just starting off with just speaking about the challenges, and then we'll go into the next space to see then how are we managing it? How are we handling it? I would really like to ask that you continue putting the conversations in the chat, because again, it's what you put it there that will generate even a richer conversation. Going to you, Jackie, please tell us, as a mom with also children spanning across the generations. I think all of you are Alpha. I don't know if you have a Gen Z, but you can tell us. And then what are your challenges? So just tell us a little bit about what you do, and then the challenges.
Hello. Just
yes.
checking if you can hear me well.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Because of where I am now, it's a bit outside, so trying to be heard loud and clear. As you've seen on the slide, I'm a mom, a counseling therapist, a life coach, and a parenting coach. And I know it's a wide range of things being done there. But my passion is people. I love people. I love people achieving their highest potential. It sounds very cliche, but I love seeing people blossom and be everything they ever desired to be, inclusive of children. So in my space, and one of the challenges I've had to navigate is the decision of, first of all, as an educator, stepping out and saying that I will take a step from career as I know it and educate the children from home. What does that mean? when our parents, not just my parents, are asking, does this mean that we made a wrong decision taking you to school? How do I tell my parents that your decision was right? And they're like, see, you turned out right. You were an A student. You did well. How do I face my parents who think I have thrown a whole career? Like, this is not what they sent me to school to do. I have solutions to offer. And how do I navigate my personal dilemma in terms of, am I making the right decision for myself and for the children in my space? And few years down the line, as I say, time tells, will it prove me right or wrong? And how do I stay true to myself? How do I stay authentic to what I know and what I believe that I should be doing in this season? Thank you, Dr. Carol.
Wow, I mean, that's a really tough decision to have to make, you know, and that question just threw me. You know, your parents are asking you, did we make a wrong decision by taking you to school? Because that looks like it's just a total defiance, you know, from you don't believe that what we did was right and that's why you're doing this. Interesting to hear how you're navigating that space by following your own values and all that. We will come back to you to hear how you're managing that. So let me see, Wangari, I'll go for you again. In that whole space of asking yourself, am I doing the right thing? Too much information, balancing between friend and mom, extreme. Am I doing too much? Am I being too easy? Am I being too hard? All those questions come. How are you navigating it? Because the topic today is navigating these phases of parenting with confidence. How does that look like for you?
Thank you so much. First, it's just the coming to realization that all you can do is your best, first of all, and that's that your children will appreciate your best. You know, it might not look like what it looks like in the textbook or online, but you know, as long as you're showing up. And how to find that balance between being a parent and being the disciplinarian, I think it really just comes with having your presets, I don't know what to call them, values. I think knowing your journey, where do you want to go? You know, what kind of relationship do I want with my daughter when she's older? Not just even now at 10 or when she's a teenager, but as she becomes a young lady in this changing society, what kind of relationship would I like to have with her? Would I like to only be able to influence her life right now when she's in my space, or would I like to have a voice of influence that continues even as she leaves my space? And that really guides the decision by moments. It's a very moment by moment thing, because there's a moment where I need to be a friend to her, not her best friend necessarily, but a friend to her. There are those times I need to empathize, I need to be her friend. And also it's an opportunity to teach her values of friendship, you know, even as we're having those moments. And then there's those times where I have to lay down the law, and now I am on the other side. But again, it's just also maintaining quite an open communication, because I always tell her, you know, we can be friends and sometimes we have to fight so that we can achieve where we want to go. So the destination is not just clear to me, but also to her, that I want her to grow to become a lovely person with great values. And this is why we have to walk this journey as we are walking. And the last is a village, having a village of people with similar intentions. Even like all the 70 of you who are here, just willing to self-develop even in your parenting, to do better, to learn better. Having a village of people like that is amazing, because even as the times are changing, as the challenges are changing, I'm able to check in with my village and get quite the reassurance about where I'm going and how to do things in a certain way. Thank you.
And so having a village, knowing that sometimes you will be friend, and sometimes you will lay down the limits and being okay doing both, not wanting to oscillate from one place to another. Okay, I'll come back to you, because what I would really like to hear is, how do you handle big emotions and tantrums and all that? Because there is a lot of information now about self-regulation and things like that. How are you handling the big emotions? So think about that as I go to Elijah. Elijah, I mean, really just want to hear a dad's heart. A couple of weeks ago, when the president was in the X Spaces, one of his parting shots was, "I have been told to listen and to empathize more." And those are not the everyday words that especially maybe you would expect from an African man, So how does it look like? Just give us the father's heart in this space. How are you handling things like that when you're told to be like that, to listen more, to empathize more? What does that look like for you as a dad?
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Carol. That's a really dicey one. In fact, as you've said this, it actually came up in one of the WhatsApp group that I happened to be part of, where exactly the way you put it, where guys felt that, when those three journalists were throwing the questions to our, or just engaging with our CEO or our president, and guys felt that he was positioning himself as a leader, more of a leader, less of a father. So you can actually feel that the whole nation wanted him to be a father. And for sure, I tell you, it's not as easy as we probably might think. In fact, I'm looking at, that also brings to question, the comment that has been brought, and I think you've read, where I think one of our participants this evening is saying in their female group at work, they say they want to be a man in their next life. I don't know. That caught my attention. But anyway, how do we position ourselves as fathers and really bringing out the heart of a father? In fact, that question, as I said, it's quite a dicey one, because the moment I think about it, it actually triggers the conversation that we've had in As Time Comes, where how do you show up in the moments of, heated moments to your child? What do you carry in your heart? Because I actually thought the heart is not just, you of course, you want to empathize with the child, you want to be a friend with your child, but at the same time, just showing up in those tough moments, like for us, the president showing up at this point in time and just empathizing with families that have lost their children. It's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing. And of course, I started off by saying some of the dilemmas that I actually have as well as a dad is, how do I balance between being a friend to my kids, drawing these lines that if you cross this path, then our friendship, probably we have to be a disciplinarian. One of the key things that I've actually tried to do to be able to pour out my heart as a father is connecting with them in the place of play. I do a lot of play with my kids. And that's something I'm so big on in terms of, well, we could have some struggles here and there. There's certain things, issues of social media, navigating technology, where my child will probably want to stay, everybody has gone to bed, but then you hear somebody has sneaked out there to turn on the router so that they can access the internet. And that has happened at some point. And I got so mad. But at the same time, I want to tell her, listen, what you're doing is wrong. At this point in time, your brain needs to rest. You need to sleep. And then, so what I've realized is that in the process of trying to build a good relationship, I try to bring up some of these issues in the place of play. I always encourage my kids, let's go out and play. And so that place of play helps me to be able to connect with them, to be able to build a relationship where I can actually quote unquote rebuke or correct, but in a friendly way, where they don't feel like I'm so hard on them, because there's the authority, there's a place where I need to be able to calm down and say, listen, what you did is wrong. But I realized when I do it in the heat of the moment, I do it with so much, a lot of emotion. So it's not more or less child-centered. It's more of me who wants to please myself. I know that, I mean, go out there as I've rebuked them for doing a wrong thing, but I'm not thinking about correcting them, telling them that, listen, what you've done, like going out, waking up at night to turn on the router to access social media is wrong. So I try to use avenues where I can be able to build a relationship, but at the same time, throw a correction and tell them, listen, what that is wrong. So for me, the place of connection, sporting with them. In fact, as a matter of fact, I play tennis with them every now and then. Most of the time when I'm around, like though right now I'm out of town, and as I said, I'm calling from Maputo. But one of the key things I always look forward to, those moments when I have a chance to connect with them, which could just be even just driving, dropping them in school. I can throw a thought here and there, just bringing an issue up, like, okay, last time we had issues with your academics. How can we handle this? And it gives me a chance to be able to, connect, but at the same time, bring correction without putting up so much emotion. So without triggering so much heat, because, if you do it when things are hot, at that moment when they've messed up, chances are that you'll actually you probably rebuke in a way that they'll feel you don't care for them, you don't love them, or you don't empathize. So that balance for me the easiest way has been connecting them or correcting them when a place of connection, or building a relationship. And then that place where we can connect, we can be able to talk, I can bring up an issue that wasn't so right. So that for me is the heart of a father, where we can empathize, we can feel, we can understand that our children are going through stuff, and we need to be able to find a way of connecting with them. As I also mentioned, I have a teen who, given that we know that our teens go through so much, already we are hearing a lot of stuff that is going on in our nation. And that season is just so, I call it, where they display a lot of variant characteristics given all that they're going through. But now, how do you understand them? How do you help them navigate that season? One of the key things that has actually helped me, and I'm trying to put it into practice. I've just decided to buy books to understand what adolescent stage is all about. So in a nutshell, just building understanding to know that, come on, this is a stage that my child is going through, and I need to have a very good understanding on how to help them navigate this and how to be available and present and support them through it. Because there are certain things that they do, and probably we'll be talking about, that you wonder, how did you even make this particular decision? At times they just don't feel like waking up in the morning and you struggle with that. At times they make some very crazy decisions and you struggle with that. But then, one of the key things that we've learned in this particular class is that, at that stage, that the frontal lobe discussion, there's a part of their brain that is not developed to be able to help them rationalize, make right judgment. And for me, that sort of just understanding has helped me to sort of handle them with a bit of calmness, not reacting, but try to do a little bit of responding, first listening to their hearts, listening to their conversation, and just finding a way of helping them navigate the season. So for me, just understanding and trying to connect with them has been a key sort of channel or a key avenue to help me navigate some of the dilemmas that I experience as a dad, particularly handling teens and preteens as well.
Right. And I mean, that speaks into intentionality. Thank you for sharing that. It speaks into intentionality that you're saying, I'm doing my best not to react in the moment. Although what I really want to do is burst on you and tell you off, because how dare you? How dare you sneak out the phone and all that? And so what you're saying is that knowing that there is time to have that conversation when you're calmer and she's calmer, and continuing to have that conversation from a space of soberness. Because what we say in this space is that our children respond to us better when they feel connected to us. And what Eda has put there is that she has learned that children are totally unable to self-regulate and depend on a healthy adult, a stable adult for that. So if the parent is dysregulated or immature, then the child will not learn the skill. And we talk about that in our sessions. That's correct, Eda, that, you know, we actually are our children's frontal lobe for a very long time, where it's what we do that will activate that frontal lobe, the part of the brain that is in charge of decision making, self-regulation, and all that. It is through the environment that we create. And so thank you for that. It's during our connecting, one-on-one connection moments that our children really are able to hear the lessons that we are teaching. I want to go to Halima and just ask, how are you navigating the busy working mommy space and all those questions that you're saying your children are asking you? What's working for you? How are you navigating it with confidence? You are muted, Halima. You are still muted.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
It takes confidence for one to become a parent at first place. I had to stop and think and read and reread to understand the process of parenting, and decided, first of all, before I help others, to help myself and to become the best parent I yearned for. In that journey, I had to discover myself, self-discovery. That is, again, self-awareness. Parents, self-awareness in parenting is the ability to recognize and understand your own thoughts, emotions, behaviors, and how they influence your interactions with your children. It involves also being mindful of your strengths and weaknesses as a parent, as well as understanding how your actions affect your child's development and behavior. So I paused and asked myself, in all these shortcomings, which role have I played? What belongs to me in this sense? And what exactly do I want? Am I planting oranges and expecting bananas? Am I giving them the right values? Am I teaching them the virtues? Am I guiding them through my cultural and religious practices? Therefore, I had now to think about the strong foundation, which most Muslims will understand. We do these fundamentals and the values of Islam and our cultural practices when they are young enough. I hired for them a sheikh to do that part. That means delegating. I don't have time to teach them the religious, and I'm not actually very good at that. So I had to hire someone to help me with that. So delegation of the role helped me. Inculcating and imparting knowledge when they are young, between the age of 4 to 7 years, helps a lot. It sticks more in their head when they are young than when they are already big enough. So when I send a child to the market and I want the child to buy for me exactly what I want, first of all, I have to guide the child by myself. So guidance came in. So I guide them through. I'm not alone in this journey, and I delegate some of the responsibilities also to my husband. It is no longer olden days when women stay home and husband come from work with a newspaper. Nowadays, newspapers are read in the phones or in the computers, and there are also WhatsApp here distracting them. But now the digital dads also understand. So I had also to delegate what belongs to him. Like Elijah said, fathers also have part to play. I had to offload some of the burdens for him to help me here and there. Some of the values like respect, honesty, family rules and regulations are good when we teach them early enough in life. When I send my child to go and visit her friend who is maybe a non-Muslim, I'm very confident now because my child knows the values. She should not take off her scarf because that is how I am dressed this way always. She learned from me. I also do by action and they copy the same. Children at a young age learn by copying, they mimic, they imitate all that. And one of the things that has helped me after doing the self-awareness thing, and I knew exactly what I want and exactly how I want my children to behave, is that I had to communicate to them. And I had to make communication very strong using a calm voice. I used sometimes very harsh voice, but I found out it is not working. So I had to be very calm with them. When I'm angry, when I know my head is hot from workplace, I just lock myself somewhere, shower, then I cool down, I come back when my engine is working better for them. Communicating to them using calm voice actually is the industry of making good relationship with your children. When you communicate with respect, with calm voice and honesty, these kids, believe me, they will listen to you. And then in that, I now communicate to them. The young one, the older ones will make her or him understand that mom went to Marsabit to do this and that. She will be coming back this. Then they have their demands and I meet their demand. When it is not possible, I don't take a promise if I know it is not possible because they will lose trust in me. Before, when I am going out and they see my backpack, I'm not going anywhere. It is just around here. I'm coming back. But nowadays, no, I tell them the truth. I'm going for how many days, the number of days, where I am going, and what we will do when I come back. And I fulfill also when I go back there. Communication is key, accompanied by consistency. The little you do, the little time you have with them, whatever you are teaching them, the values you are telling them, do it consistently. Be patient with them. And if you are patient enough and you communicate with them with respect and honesty, the kids will take responsibility also because their right also come with responsibilities. There is no way you tell me do this, do that, and yourself you are not doing it. Another thing that has helped me is involving them in house chores, in family activities. And in that, we connect a lot. When I'm doing my work, when I'm arranging my clothes, when I'm doing my kitchen work, I engage them, those who are of age, and also those younger ones, they learn. They learn by watching me, by seeing what I'm doing. We are talking softly. We are talking sometimes in vernacular. When I start talking to them, by the way, I have nickname for all my children. And a very nice nickname, you know, when I call that child by that name, the child connects very fast and he knows that mom is on me today and mom is on me for good reason. If it is bad reason, I'll call them by their names, their real names, and that person knows that there is a mistake somewhere. Then we discuss now the consequences. You see, you did that and this. So parenting coach, I call myself a coach, then I'm not coaching my own. No, it will be a useless thing. So when we are coaching, it comes from inward towards outwards. and towards other people in helping. So role sharing plays a big role in all that. Learn also, involving them in shopping, connecting with them in different places, communicating to them, regular communications here and there about things, about the time also, keeping the calendars, putting the reminders, all that. You see, in Islam, by the way, parenting is a responsibility that you cannot avoid. You have to parent. You have to take the responsibilities. That is the religion I know better. I'm sorry, but that is where I grew up and I know all this. I also read widely, as I said, and I also joined few trainings here and there to learn much more about how I can do things to make my children better and those of my clients. Therefore, in that, I joined the Stawi camp last year. A friend of mine asked me a few things here and there, and about also Stawi. The person thought I was already in Stawi, and I got a lot of clients from that person already, and then I had to search for Stawi. I joined Stawi Camp Champion. Out of my busy schedule, I had to join because I can never be busy for anything called parenting. That is where I gained a lot of parenting skills and tools, which I am now using to serve others, other parents. So I'm now using it to serve other parents. And it has also turned me to a better parent, to a better coach. And I'm actually very happy to be part of this team as a coach. So what I can say is all within you. It's all within your reach.
Right.
Sit down, ask yourself few questions here and there that you are working very hard. You are bringing money home. You are providing all the materials. How about emotional support? What do you want to see? Like I said before, are you planting oranges and expecting bananas?
Good question there, Halima.
Yep.
Good question. I think what you're really speaking into is the self-awareness, intentionality, delegating, being able to be very clear about the communication you're having, what it is you're communicating, standing by your values. And I think also just being able to take as much time as possible to inculcate those values when they are young. Okay. And I know that sometimes, even with that, we may have parents here and also reading widely. Yes, Emily has put that there. Sometimes we might ask, what if I didn't do that when they were young? What happens? Jackie, as you're talking about your how you're navigating confidently, could you speak into that space? I didn't do it when my child was young. Here I am. I'm getting pushback. As you're answering your question on navigating with confidence, speak into that space as well. Thank you, Halima.
Thank you, Dr. Carol. And Halima, one of the things Halima has mentioned is self-awareness. I look at my parenting journey and I can put 5 generations into it because my great-grandmother was in my face when I was small, and my grandparents took me to school before my parents took over in high school. And I have 2 generations in my house. There's a vocal Gen Z, and then the alphas are also in the house. So one of the things I've had you speak frequently on, Dr. Carol, is dropping the notion of BAT and realizing that 2 extremes can peacefully coexist. That you can have, for example, you can have a parent who misunderstood you but also loved you. It sounds very conflicting, but those two things can peacefully coexist. So it doesn't have necessarily to be this and or but, yeah, that two of these things you can acknowledge the good that this space brought into you, and also take ownership of the good that you're bringing into this space. And I think that's what I've done when it comes to educating the children in my space, is acknowledging the good that has come, and speaking to the investment that was put in me, and say, because you did that, then I am able to do this. If you did not take me to school, then I would absolutely not be able to do this. Some of us, let me just give a scenario. We remember that child in class who maybe would jump off tables, you know, speak when the teacher was teaching, run around in the field, and maybe they were labeled a nuisance, and they ended up being on the noisemakers list a lot, and they ended up being spanked, and they were labeled as bad children. One of the dilemmas that one of the parents has raised is, when you understand this is who your child is, as we'd say, for those who are not from here, Kenyans would say hana ubaya, says this is who they are, and they do not absolutely mean any harm. Yet at the same time, you find that some of these children are very sensitive, that after they have flipped the tables and run around the field, they're the ones who cry the easiest. They are sensitive, which speaks to their nurturing sense. They're the ones who will bring the teachers flowers, yet they're the ones who will forget everything they were told. So one of the things I do with people in my space, I study people, I study patterns, and I realized that I have some of those children in my space. And I saw how it was easy in my generation for such children to fall through the cracks and not achieve their potential because of the labels society gives them. Having this conversation with my brother, and he said, you know, this other child in school, they named him mad. Literally, they said his brain was not working well. And I really felt very sad. And I said, why did they name, this is a young man in university now. He was just talking to me about one of his best friends. He said, because he never used to sit still. He would run out of class. And we discovered it's because he used to get easily bored. When they got to class 5 and they were doing science experiments, he became alive. He became alive, and school began making sense to him. But you can imagine the leveling that he had to live with even as a child. And it's very easy for adults when you communicate that, and then children pick that, and children are not kind. They say, teacher says you're stupid. Teacher says, you know. So in my quest to offer what works for some of the children in my space now, I had to make that decision and become the advocate of the child that I'm raising. The same way my caregivers were advocates for the children they were raising, including me. So one of the things I feel very strongly is to be an advocate of the child in my space, because I have this privilege of raising them, and I have this privilege of studying them and seeing what kind of child is here with me and what are their needs, and am I being present to their needs. And being present to their needs means that I'm making a decision that works best for all of us. Why do I say best? Because one of the dilemmas I've mentioned is, am I giving up a career as it would look? No, I'm making a decision right now that is best for all of us, because then I don't want to have regrets. And this current decision ensures that a few years down the line, I'll be able to come to terms with the decisions I made today. And that is just, as Halima alluded, it's being self-aware and being very confident to make decisions based on your values. What is important to you? When you talk about values, it boils down to what is important to you. And there are very many things that are important to us. But then the question says, what is very, very important to me now? It may not be important to me tomorrow or next year, but in this current, as we talk like phase, in this current phase of my life, in this current phase of my children's life, what is important? Then I make decisions based on that. And what you're saying, Dr. Carol, the second question, then we say, if I never made decisions based on what was important in the past season of my child's life, is it late? Is it too late? Is that irredeemable? I don't think it's ever irredeemable, that you cannot make up for lost time. Your child is your child. The age gap you have with your child will never be covered. But one of the things which even some of the participants have seen you type in is connection. Being very much aware that you can connect with your child the same way you have made friendships with strangers you didn't know. You met people in an office. There was a bit of studying and learning each other, but finally you opened up that space and embraced people you didn't know into your life. I would want to say we need to give ourselves permission to start all over again from wherever we are, at whatever point, at whatever day. That today, for the parents who are having 33-year-olds here, I've seen that it's still possible to have an amazing relationship with this 33-year-old. I keep looking at the children in my space and saying, I have an opportunity to have such a fantastic relationship with these children. If only I give myself the chance, because they are children, and children are forgiving. If we are honest, if we speak honestly to them, then and say, hey, this is where I messed up. I want to make it right. I don't even know, I don't have all the answers, but I would love us to do this better. If they are adults, because you can have that relationship. If they are younger, please connect. Conscious connection. Just connect with your children. It's never late. If you can make friends with people you didn't know, who don't even speak your language, honestly, if we forgive ourselves, because the biggest hindrance is ourselves. You're like, I blew it up. I don't know how to patch this up. If you forgive yourself for the mistakes, true or the stories you formed around the things you've done, forgive yourself. Then it's easy for the children in your space to forgive you and embrace you. And we are not working for magic. It's a day at a time. There'll be resistance. They'll be pushing back. Because why are you coming back now? Where were you 30 years ago? Where were you 19 years ago? But please keep at it. Keep at it. We keep at it with outsiders. We can keep at it with the children in our spaces. Thank you, Dr. Karen.
Thank you, Jackie. And we always say in our sessions that you don't judge your parenting by the harvest, by what you're seeing today, but by the seeds you're planting every day. And one of those seeds really is what you're saying, conscious connection, connecting with our children in a way that is conscious. And a lot of these things that we are saying, parenting calmly, communicating, being consistent, playing with them, and all that sometimes can sound overwhelming for parents, busy parents who are also dealing with their own things. And so one of the things we really like to clarify here in this space is that if you do what you are doing only just 30% of the time, because the moment we hear that we need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, we're thinking 100%. We're thinking, if I've been consistent and I drop off, then my child will be affected negatively. But actually, there's research that's showing actually that if you do conscious connection or hold space for your children to articulate their emotions and all that, if you do it 30% of the time, as long as the other 70%, the child is not going under abuse, okay, is not being abused, whether it's physical or all the other forms of abuse, your child will still turn out fine. And so the message we're giving is a message of hope. One, it's never too late. Two, connect in the small spaces, in the small little things. And number 3, really self-awareness, which is very, very important. Wangari, how are you handling big emotions? How are you handling the discipline space as a millennial mom?
As I think for me, there's 2 ways to answer that question. As a millennial mom, first I ran to Google. I tried to find a solution of Google. As a Stawi captain, as a mental coach at Stawi Camp, however, I did discover the beauty of the emotional brain. And that gave me a lot of insight on how to handle tantrums and big emotions. Now, I'm just going to try to keep it as simple as we can for now. And I'm going to just say all our children, even us, we have our emotional side of the brain, and then we have the intelligent side of the brain, the one that makes logical choices. And the emotional part, it just handles the emotions. There's no logic behind it. It's just feelings. Now, when our children are having a tantrum, they're engaged into, it's like, actually, I don't know if this is the best example, I'm not a driver, but it's like gears. The gear that is engaged is the emotional brain gear. And during that moment, you come in with logic and you don't connect. Like the screaming child screams more. And you're trying to explain to them, when you scream, you won't get what you want. But it's like they can't hear you and it just continues to get worse. And but however, whenever your child is connecting with their emotional side of the brain, what they need is an emotional connection. That's not the moment to be explaining logic because then you're not really connecting with the part of their brain that makes sense of what you're saying. So sometimes a child who is screaming and throwing themselves down, they just need to connect with you emotionally, and imagine it won't take away from the lesson that ultimately you're trying to teach, or maybe we shouldn't throw tantrums like this. But in order for them to hear you, you have to connect with that emotional part of theirs that is reacting. And we teach these things at Stawi Camp on both sides. We teach it for the kids and we teach it for the parents. And one thing as a parent is, I say hugs. Hugs are like penicillin for parenting. It just treats everything, because in that moment they just want to feel heard. They're screaming because you took away the doll and you're trying to explain why you took it away, but they can't hear you. So in that moment, maybe an easier thing to explain is, I really feel you. You must feel so bad that I took away your doll. Can I give you a hug? Can I give you a hug so that you can calm down? And then when they calm down, you can encourage them to take deep breaths. Once they are calm, then you can begin to converse and talk about how the doll can't be at the dinner table. This is why. But that's when they are calm and they are hearing you. But at an emotional moment, you can't give them logical solutions or logical consequences. Emotional moments require emotional connection. And this makes it so much easier, and it goes across all ages, even some adults. Even adults, at times an adult who is reacting very highly at a very emotional state, sometimes they need empathy, even if it's just in that moment, some empathy, some emotional understanding, so that they can come down enough to now understand, hey, this is a bit far from where we need to be. Thank you, Dr. Karen.
Thank you, Wangari. And I think you connect at the emotional level, that calms down the brain, that calms the high triggered activity in the brain. That is, for a child, taking a doll away, it's similar in the brain as seeing a lion, okay? And it's the same as, I want a red cup, I don't want the blue cup, and they throw a tantrum. Just the fact that they didn't get the blue cup, it's that whatever activity is happening in the brain right now, at that point, is tantamount to actually seeing a tiger. That is what is happening in their brain. And so I know this is not easy for many of us because of how we've grown up, because of the conversations that we've been given about nip this behavior in the bud. A child starts screaming in the supermarket, pull out the mwiko and beat them until they stop. Of course they will stop. we need to look at different ways of handling these things so that we don't aggravate the situation at an emotional level that might have more long-lasting effects emotionally. So you want to fix the behavior right away? Go ahead, nip it in the bud at that time. But what do you really need to do in the long term is what we need to look at. Okay, and that's when Elijah is talking about having conversations during conscious connection time. That's when you really, a lot of the work that we do when it comes to discipline, and we're working on a really great course, 5-part series on discipline in a couple of weeks. So check back with us so we can also help you really now get into the basics of the brains and see what is happening there. But the important thing when it comes to discipline really is taking advantage of the calm moments, or the moments where we're quiet. When this person is calm and this person is calm, a lot of those lessons will land. They will land so much better. So this belief system that we have, that behavior has to be fixed immediately, you have to use pain, you have to do all those things, it's actually working against you. You'll be happy that the behavior goes away immediately, but and there's no learning that has occurred there, especially if you're being violent and physical around that space. And so it's just important to have a lot of those basics. And that's why a lot of us here are saying, we've had to go out there, we've had to look for information, because the way we were parented is very different from how we are expected to parent these generations. There's some things that we have carried from our past that are amazing and great, and we need to pass them on. But there are some things that haven't worked. And when we know better, I think we just owe ourselves and our children to do better. The other thing I just wanted to really throw that in is that we talk a lot about calm parenting, and sometimes people think, okay, so me, that's just not my nature, I'm just not that kind of person and all that. And it's not calm versus something terrible. It's really the attitude in which you come into that space. And sometimes we will blow up. Even for us here, we'll mess up. But there are so many opportunities to repair when we mess up. So this is not an opportunity to say, okay, now let's all go calm and quiet and be nice and all that. Depending on your personality, you might show up differently. But in the bigger scheme of things, what's the attitude you're bringing in your parenting? We usually talk about coming alongside a child as opposed to coming at them. Are you taking time, like Jackie says, to really understand this child? And so I want to invite you for the next few minutes to just tell you a little bit about our program, and then we will come back and we will go through think about the things you really want to squeeze in before we end this session. And like I had told you, we also want to invite you to our next program, which is, we have several programs, but the one really want to talk about is our Stowy Camp Champions program. And the highlights of the program, it's a 10-week parent coaching program where we meet 10 online sessions. And we've been doing it on Thursdays, but this time we want to open it up because there are some people who feel like they're not able to do Thursday evenings because of many other activities. So we have a Saturday morning class as well. These are some of the things that we cover in our sessions. First, self-awareness. Every person on this panel has talked about self-awareness. Basically, that is just learning to identify your triggers. What are those things that push you to yell, to say things that you don't mean, those things that you find yourselves in those cycles and you're like, how do I stop doing this? Because you end up feeling guilty, so that you can move from a parent who is reactive to a parent who is responsive. We also really delve deeper into Gen Z and Alpha Gen parenting. What is going on with our children? How is my child's generation different? How do I bridge this generational gap? Then we talk about what are the needs of children, fundamental needs. If we don't understand the needs of our children, then we are not able to meet those needs. And any misbehavior has an underlying unmet need. So for us to understand and to meet those needs, we get into the psychology of misbehavior in our sessions. And we really unpack that in a very simple way. Then we've talked about conscious connections, just reminding us that children respond to us better when they feel connected to us. How do you connect well with your child? How do you build a healthy relationship with them? Some of the dilemmas we were talking about is my preteen is not opening up. How do I then reach out to my preteen? How do I create an environment so that they actually are able to connect and to open up to me? Emotional resilience, I think we talked, there was someone in when we were talking about dilemmas, talking about how there's not a very good attitude, mumbling and rambling and complaining and all that. How do you support your child? How do you hold space through those ups and downs, and especially as preteens and teens, and sometimes even young adults? Because we want to build emotional resilience in them. And emotional resilience safeguards our children against mental health issues. So if we're able to create an environment where we can actually support and build that emotional resilience over time, then we curtail a lot of these mental health issues that might come up in the future. My child is not motivated, my child does not take initiative. We also work with you to help you begin to nurture, to create an environment that nurtures resilience in your child, so that they are responsible, so that they are self-motivated and caring children as well. Then we also talk about discipline and boundary setting, how to create an environment where children can learn life lessons, as opposed to simply stopping behavior. That's what we have been socialized to do, stop behavior. But how do we, in the long term, set boundaries? Okay, and so how does that look like? If you would like to join this journey for the next season, we are starting on the 8th of August. We have the 2 classes, 8th of August and 10th of August, every Saturday morning and every Thursday morning for 10 weeks, okay? The regular price for this session is 30,000 for an adult for the 10 weeks, for one person, for one parent. And the regular registration is 2,000. We always have a payment plan that spreads out over the three weeks. I mean, the 2 months, or the 10 weeks, sorry. And this is what comes up. So I would just like to ask our team to put in the link to register now, because if you register tonight, between now and Monday, you get a deal. You get 15% off, and that means then you get to pay less. And not only the 2,000 registration, you pay 15. If you're able to pay 1,500 by Monday, then you get the slot for the 15% off. So just remember right now, between now and Monday, we'll also keep reaching out to you to remind you. But if you're able to just even pay that money, the 1,500 now, you book your slot for a 15% off, okay? So remember, we have a flash sale going on, and that is, before we put any other links, let's just put the link. You can follow that link right now and make the payment as we continue with this conversation. You will be able to fill out the information and make the payment, and then you'll be able to book a slot for our next session. I hope that we'll see more and more of you coming to join this community. One of the things is when people come to these sessions, they don't leave. And that's why we have the panelists here. And I look forward to have another set of panelists in our next session with more passionate and fresh people who are more passionate and fresh in this space, because we are really keen on creating a community of committed adults. So I want to get back to us, and I just want us to have one more round to just have a conversation about what are your final thoughts or final words? I know we had prepared a few other things. Wangari, maybe you can think about what you will tell us about single parenting space and how that is playing out for you. Elijah, whatever you would like to say as your final words or call to action, how are you able to just as a dad show up as a voice of influence and a voice of authority? Halima, you talked about values. How are you talked about how you're doing values, but maybe a little bit more deeper, maybe on the conscious connection or self-awareness, whatever it is that you would really like to bring out as we finish this session. And Jackie, for you as well, voice of influence, self-awareness, whatever it is you would like to talk about, even as we are sharing our final words. Shall we start with you, Halima? You're muted.
Yes.
Again, you're muted. Sorry. Yep.
Parenting, I would like to say that parenting is a journey. It's not a one-day thing. It's not a one-time thing. Remember, even if you are 60 years old, you are a baby to your parent. Therefore, don't get tired. Be patient on your way down there. On values, if you lost it at the early age, it is still possible to teach them when they are old, although a little bit challenging. But be calm again, bow down, don't feel shy to be low for your children or for those who matters to you. And for all the working moms, what I wish to tell you is this: believe in yourself that you belong to your children, but not any other person. You belong to your family. Why? Once you grow older and you retire, you will go back home. And those kids whom you take care of now will be taking care of you. Can you imagine being harsh to them now and going back again into their hands? How will they treat you? So be good to them now and achieve what you want now. Another point to the world outside there is this: for those employers who are stigmatizing mothers, please stop. Employ mothers. If you ask a woman, how many children do you have? Are you married? Yes. With how many children? 6, 5. Please don't refuse to give her that work because of having, children. By the way, that mother is very skillful, because if one child is a challenge, how about bringing up few here? So that woman is a resource to you. Don't stigmatize because of her asking permission, going here and there, going and taking the kids to the hospital, dropping in something to school, dropping the kids in the morning. You know, mothers are more connected to their kids than fathers because of the biological reason we all know. So kindly out there, do not stigmatize. To the fathers, Elijah put it very clearly that they have a role. There are those fathers who have abducted their responsibilities and they just scroll their phones, WhatsApp group, going to the joints. Please come back home, help your loved ones. Share the responsibilities with your wife. Don't leave parenting to women alone, because it is overburdening and also it's not good for you as a father. Again, to fathers, be calm. Sort your anger. Don't beat. Don't shout. Don't yell to these young ones. Why? It will erode their self-esteem and it will instill fear in them. The values that you wish to see or the values that you envy in other children come back home, impact into your children with a calm voice, without anger. With that, I just want to respond to one question, one thing, about tantrums, changes of behavior in teenage. This, you need to understand the causes. You need to understand what is it? What is it all about? If they are teenagers, ask about the hormonal changes. Remember the hormonal changes. Read about it. Go and see a professional. Go and sort yourself first, because it could be maybe you who is causing much problem than the child. Could it be peer pressure outside there? And if it is about peer pressure, remind your child about the values back home. If it is about stress, Maybe the family is undergoing stress, understand also. Maybe there is loss of loved one. Maybe the child lost the father. Maybe the child is grieving. Just understand also children are human. They can be undergoing some stress, just like yourself as an adult. When I say again, use calm voice. If someone come and approach you in a calm, respectful voice, you will give in. Why are you using harsh voice? And I mean to tell your child something. So that is what I wish to say. Parenting is a journey. Don't get tired in between here. I wish you a fruitful parenting as you join Stowy Camp to get more tools to help you or to make the work easy for you. So most of the time, I do pro bono parenting.
Okay.
Whoever approached me, I don't turn you back because of money. Come join us. We are a team. We delegate responsibilities to one another in helping raise our children. Even when you connect from Mombasa, you connect from Kwale, you connect from US, we all have, as Africans, responsibility to nurture our young ones. Thank you very much and take care wherever you are. Take care of yourself. Thank you.
Thank you.
May God bless your children.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much. I want to go to Wangari.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think for me, my final words will be two. One, I would like to say something about single parenting. I think my first thing, if we have any single parents who are here, my first thing to say would be, I know the world makes it seem like it's not the truth, but you are enough, just as you are. You are enough to bring up a completely well-balanced child. There's a lot of information and a lot of social stigma that surrounds single parenting. But I believe that you are enough. Whatever the way you are showing up is sufficient. And I know, especially with being a single parent, you're so likely to become burnt out as the only parent taking up every single role. You don't really have somebody to lean back onto and be like, oh, today I don't feel like being the disciplinarian, today I'm going to hand it over. I'm having an emotional moment myself, and it kind of just falls on you. And I think you have to start by accepting that you are doing the best that you can with the resources available for you. You are doing the best that you can, because moving forward with that kind of confidence, it really translates into your parenting, you see, because the minute you already believe that you're showing up sufficiently, then you just continue to sufficiently show up. But then if you operate from a space of constantly feeling insufficient, it actually shows up even in your parenting. And it shows up with things like indiscipline. Once your child does something and then you blow it up, you're like, oh, it's because I'm a single mom and that's why she talks to me like this. If she had a dad in her life, she would have so much more respect. But we have children from different kinds of families, and all of them seemingly undergo very similar challenges. I don't think it's necessarily because you're insufficient. This is how this journey is of parenting. These children, they take us through all these seasons, and you just have to remember that you are sufficient and you have to lean into your village, which actually just brings me to the second thing I was going to say. There has not been, I know we do a lot of self-development as parents, like all of you who are here, and you're trying to learn on how to be better. At Stowy Camp, we also offer an opportunity to have this self-development for our children. I'm really passionate about giving children the tools that they need to be able to just control their own emotions and just move through moments of mental distress. And I would really like us to be encouraged to put our children in the spaces where they can learn self-regulation, they can learn to self-motivate, you know. And those are some of those programs that we do at Stawi Camp, where we are trying to teach them, what do I do with anger? Because sometimes we really assume that they just know. It's like they were just born all-knowing or something. But the reality is they don't know anything. They don't know what to do when they are being angry. They don't know what to do sometimes with their sadness or even their disappointment. And it's up to us to help them to be able to navigate these waters. And this is why there are villages available for us. Like if me personally, I'm not so good at handling my own emotions, I have somewhere I can go and I can get resources and I can get assistance, because it really just makes that parenting process so nice and easy when you've given them tools as well that they can use. You know, when you've talked to them about what to do when they're feeling very emotional, when you've taught them about how to self-regulate, when they've started from a young age to journal and to meditate and to just be able to bring themselves into a calm state to make better choices, when we're teaching them to be empathetic, that helps them to have better friendships and better relationships even with us. They're able to empathize even with us as their parents. And so that would be my push, to really encourage us to give these children more tools. The way we are able to support them in class learning, let's also support them in their emotional regulation and learning how to just take in this world with a big spoon. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Angare. And the first step is joining the Stawi Champions class, because we give you those tools. And then as part of a Stawi Champion, you actually get a discount in the camps that we have. And whenever we have the kids camp, we'll be reaching out to you as well. Elijah? I can see Jackie dropped off.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you so much. I mean, fantastic conversations. And I actually thought about it, you know, when Jackie and even Halima and Wangari were talking about some of those aspects. And it came to me that, you know, even when you talk about the heart of a father, a thought came to me, how sensitive as fathers are we to the needs of our children? In most cases, we've only relegated ourselves to the provision part of it. It's almost like meeting their physical needs. How about being present to meet their social needs, their emotional needs, even their spiritual needs, actually? You know, are you stepping in that gap to meet their spiritual needs? In fact, the aspect of the emotional needs reminds me of an event that was organized by a school where my kid goes to, and they called it the Father-Daughters Day. And I can tell you for sure, you know, we had a small chunk of fathers who probably felt, after all, we've already paid the school fee, so what is all these sideshows? Why should we have a Father-Daughter's Day, father-daughter dinner? We went ahead and did it. Let me tell you how the impact that had on our daughters. Of course, we had some of the students who probably coming from, quote unquote, you know, single parent families, and you know, the question was, how are they going to be represented in this particular setup? But for me, the biggest question was, the biggest question that we needed to answer is that, over and above just providing for the physical needs of our children, of our daughters, how can we be present? And I'm sure Halima made that huge call that as fathers, are we present? Because it actually happens that even in families where you still have the dad present, but we are hardly present to be able to meet the emotional needs of our children, the spiritual needs of our children, the social needs of our children, because we will be much more comfortable to say, Nshali Pafi, so just go to school, or I've paid for I've provided food. So then we get involved in other things. In fact, I keep saying, why don't we tag our kids alongside as we go for maybe watching soccer? Of course, it needs to be a respectable sort of event that you can easily tag your children along. But the message that I'm trying to send here is that we need to be present in all circumstances, not just really getting into our providing the physical needs. Because I know a lot of this information comes from how we saw our parents do it, particularly our fathers. They do show up, provide a meal, go do his stuff, and show up probably late in the evening when everybody's asleep. But in this current season or in this phase of our lives, I think we need to be present as dads. And for me, that actually speaks to, even this conversation when we say, how is the heart of a father? So the heart of a father is where I desire to be involved. I desire to be intentional. I desire to be purposeful in being present and being parenting our children, my children. So in fact, one of the key things that also comes to mind again is that, which we've already talked about, is it has to be, we've said it has to be intentional. You have to look for information. We've talked of how do you immerse yourself in information that can help you be a better parent. So my parting shot here is that the truth is, we're not going to be good parents overnight. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. And I love what my fellow panelists mentioned today. It's a journey. It's a journey. But one of the key things that I will say that has actually helped me in this journey when I joined Star is that just understanding that it's all about relationships. And for me, that has been my deepest desire. How do I cultivate the right environment that I can be able to connect with my children? And as I mentioned earlier, I look for several ways. Of course, for me, sports being a big thing, I look to connect with them through sports. In fact, one of the key things that actually came to mind, there's a season when my kids we love doing pancakes in the morning. And they will tell me, Dad, why don't you do pancakes? And I can tell you for sure, those simple moments of just doing a meal together with them, preparing a meal, doing pancakes here and there, helped me to connect with them so much. In fact, one of the key things that they keep saying is maybe once in a while, every Saturday, we just do it together. And it's a place of connection. So building relationships, looking for avenues on how you can build relationships can be a fun thing. Some of us dudes, it might just be going out there, driving with your kids. And in the process, you just have a chance to talk to them, understand some of the key things they're going through. And particularly teens need those emotional connections. And I call upon dads out there. And I'm so happy that we have a group of dads who are here, who've really felt that it's important to come in and just be part of this community. I celebrate you guys. Let's make a step, be part of this community, because the bigger it is, we build a community, it's easier to be able to begin to propagate the right ideas, propagate the right mentality that will transform our society. The reality is that we have a lot of dysfunctional families out there where the dad is either present or not present, or even if we are present, we are not fully involved. And for me, I'm making a clarion call that let's be involved, let's be intentional. And one of the ways to get involved and get the right information is sign up for this 10-week program that SAU is offering. Is fantastic. Without a shadow of a doubt, I can say these have actually helped me transform my thinking, because for the longest time, I actually thought I had it all together. But as I joined this particular community, I realized that, wow, there's so much that I can learn. And even just connecting with the rest of us, being part of the community has been so
because I'm not a panelist here, I'm just listening.
Oh, sorry. And therefore,
someone would like, maybe you can check and see now that person who needs to be muted.
Oh, yes. So I really call out, I make a clarion call to all parents, both dads and moms. Let's sign up. Let's get the information. Let's be part of this community that will be able to change, inject or infuse a new mentality on what parenting is. We are going through a very dicey season, a very tough season, that our children need us. They need us to meet their needs, whether it's spiritual, whether it's social, to meet their physical needs. So we have to be present. We have to be intentional. We need to be purposeful. And the place to be is gather that, get equipped. And Stowie Camp is a fantastic place for us to be able to, sharpen that axe to be better parents. So thank you so much for finding time to join this evening, and have a lovely time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That call is clear, and I would like us to still just let that link to Stowie Champions Season 6 be the last thing that we are sharing right now in the chat. I want to open it up to questions. I don't know if Jackie was able to come back. to say her final words. I don't see you here, but if you are, you can just unmute. Let's put the chat, the message, the link to join season 6 for registration. Please share it also with your friends, and let's continue to have this community of conscious, committed adults who want to have a better relationship, because at the heart of all the outcomes that we desire is relationships. And what we do at STAWI is to give you the tools to have a relationship, to become that stable adult who connects better with your children in the long term, so that we are reducing those many dilemmas that we talked about at the start. Any questions, Emily, that need to be, that that have not been addressed? We're going to close in the next moment. Yes.
I could just speak to the parents who are here and applaud you for showing up for yourself and showing up for the children in your space. There's a quote I've seen online that here and there saying, I hope you heal from the things you don't speak about. And as a therapist, I know the need sometimes to speak about things that brings healing. Sometimes, or most of the times, healing does not happen in isolation. So to acknowledge this is my journey. I'm hoping that majority of us had amazing parents growing up, and as we said, it is not. But that everything can coexist, and also acknowledge that in our parenting journey, how we are parenting, maybe there are pockets of healing that we have to get into, because maybe some of us are asking, how do I parent these children? Yet I wasn't parented well. Yet I feel I'm very ill-equipped to parent. And it's easy for us to say, let them go to school, let them go to church, let them go to all the spaces we have, for someone else to take care of that parenting dilemma you have. But my encouragement tonight is that we can do it, and we can do it well with the communities we are building around us. So I ask us to take a step forward and talk about the spaces we need healing, even as parents. Gen X's, we were very loud on social media saying that we turned out right, until our children exposed our underbellies to realize that maybe we didn't just turn out right the way we thought we turned out right. We didn't turn out right maybe because we are the generation that we were supposed to cut our hair because our hair made us not concentrate in school. I can see Dr. Carol shaking and Wangare wondering, what was that? Like, you look back, like, what was my hair to do with my education? It's those little things that made us fearful, and maybe also making us fearful to step out and ask for help when we need it. So my clarion call, if there are spaces you need healing, I absolutely encourage you to reach out. I'm not just hoping that you heal. I'm asking you to take a bold step of healing, because when we heal, then the children in our spaces are better. Then we don't parent from our fears. We parent from a space of confidence. I know tonight we are saying, how do you parent with confidence? You parent with confidence when you understand yourself better. So I'm asking us to step forward and walk into our healing journey. And we are walking alongside our children, because now we can't pack them in a box and work on ourselves, then we come back for them later. No, we are working on ourselves as we walk alongside them. And then because of that, then we will not struggle with empathy. We will not struggle with communicating to them, because we are honest and vulnerable. So tonight, if I was to ask us for anything, is to own our spaces, to just take time. Don't run away from your parenting journey. Don't run away from yourself. And it doesn't have to be overwhelming. It's a step at a time. One of the things we say in STAO is what I now know. It may not be many things. And one of the things maybe I would hope we walk out of these spaces with, alongside all the things we have learned, is that what I now know is that I don't have to heal in isolation, that I can be part of a vibrant, healthy community of people who are becoming aware of who they are and they want healthy children in their spaces. The ones who, so that we don't say, we just turned out right, they did this. No, we take spaces. We might have turned out right in some spaces, but then there are pockets that would need healing and we can do better. So let's step up in those spaces and absolutely trust me, you will enjoy the journey, be self-aware, and your children will be appreciative. And you will also be appreciative of the person you have become as you heal yourself. Thank you so much for showing up tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you, our panelists. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Halima. Thank you, Wangari. Thank you, Elijah. You have been amazing, and I'm just so honored that you're part of the STAWI team and the STAWI journey. For some reason, you've been highlighted, Elijah, fully highlighted. Yeah, we can remove the highlights now. I just want to see if there are any questions that we have left out. You can still unmute to ask a question if that's what you would like to do. So glad that you all were able to come. Please make sure, let me just remind you about the program that is starting in 3 weeks' time. But if you want to take advantage of the sale, please make sure that you send in your payment by Monday midnight. And those are, you can take a screenshot of that so that you're able to take. Just remember, it's 25,500 if you pay by Monday, and not everything. You are only sending the registration fee by Monday, 22nd July. And there is a form there that you can fill out your information so that we can follow up with you. I don't know if you have any questions. Anyone, questions? Emily, anything that we have left out in the conversation?
I have a question.
Sure, Leah.
Yes, my name is Leah. I am a parent of 2 children and I'm an educator. And I'm a bit concerned because of the way we've seen the Gen Zs speaking their mind. And at the same time, we're also teaching our children to speak out. But I want us to maybe you can explain to us how can we draw the line between respectful, because I've seen like some of them are.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Leah.
Oh, thank you. So I'm saying there's we need to know the line between being confident and also being disrespectful. As you speak your mind, as you say what you feel, how do we draw the line so that our children don't grow up being disrespectful while looking like they're confident? Thank you.
Thank you, Leah. I think that's a good question. It's a valid question, and it's something that we continually grapple with as we are raising these children who really speak up and speak their minds. I think number one for me, and I'll also ask any of the panelists to weigh in, is number one, how we are modeling it. Okay, how we are modeling it even in our spaces, the way we are talking to each other, the way we are talking to the person, the security person, the way you're talking to the border guy on the phone who has lost his way and keeps calling you every 2 minutes, you know. How are you handling that? Because those are the things that they pick up, you know. So that's one. Number two, for me to know that tone of respect, or what we consider respect, has to be taught. They do not have that skill. Every misbehavior that we look at, we need to look at it as a skills gap. So how do I create the right environment to teach respect? Number one, conscious connection. When just remember that is at the center of everything that we want to do for our children and how we want to influence them. Let's really focus on connecting with them. During conscious connection is when I bring up that that with my son. I'll be like, that tone was very disrespectful. It was, I know you know what respectful and disrespect looks like, and that was disrespectful. And this is why. And you talk about those conversations. Like Elijah said, having conversations outside the moment are the ones that break ground for what you do in the moment. So for me, if I am having a back and forth with my son and he has a disrespectful tone, we've already had a conversation about how disrespect looks like and the tones and everything. And I'm very quick in the moment, now in the intense moment, and say, that sounds disrespectful, and I don't have to sit here and continue with you talking like that. Now, even as I'm saying that, I am aware that the frontal lobe at that moment when he's really pushing back, the part of the brain that is very much active that time is emotional part of the brain. That means the thinking brain has shut down, and therefore I expect disrespectful tone at that time. It is different from I expect and I accept. When I expect it, I won't come at him. I won't now start going back and forth with him. I'll be very calm and firm and say, that's disrespectful. I know you're frustrated, but I don't expect that. And I don't have to sit here. So you do whatever it is you have discussed outside of the moment. So just know that when you see disrespectful tones in your children, first thing is to ask yourself, have I created the environment to actually teach it? Or do I always catch this child when they have made the mistake? And that's when I want to correct it. Because at that point, it will not happen. So expect, and I'm telling you blatantly, expect disrespectful tone if you haven't created a space to train and to teach during the calm moments. Also expect a disrespectful tone in a highly charged atmosphere, but don't accept it. So I hope that makes sense for you, Leah, but we go into the nitty-gritties on how to train and how to hold space for that in class, because we talk about everyday conversations just like the one that you have talked about. Jackie, anyone else? I know that there's something you had talked about that when you were preparing for this, so maybe you can weigh in.
One of the things that was mentioned is part of the value system that we came with, what we were taught with our parents. And one of the things was children, we learned how to speak back. And one of the things that also happened, we were supposed to be seen and not heard. So I know it's a very thin line when we are talking about, we know what is blatant disrespect, but also I'm also aware I come from a generation where just talking back to someone in authority or answering was also considered disrespectful. So I'm aware of both scenarios, but we are working with the assumption here we all know what disrespect is in the realistic sense, and that's what we are addressing. And as agreeing with you, Dr. Carol, we have to model what respect looks like. And we have to agree to be corrected. And for my 5-year-old 4-year to say, Mom, you're raising your voice and it's not necessary at this hour. I can hear you. You do not have to raise your voice. And me not having to answer back. But what you have done is very wrong. So I know we have maybe modeled the yelling, and sometimes we do that because we feel that we are not being heard. So I ask myself, this child who's pushing back, it doesn't start from outside, it starts from within. I absolutely believe it's from within. Are they pushing back because they believe they are not being heard? And with the Gen Z movement, one of the things that is coming out clearly is that they believe that they are not being heard. And they believe that their parents have kept quiet when they should have spoken. So it's us realizing that, one, yes, we have to model what respect looks like. and we have to, that the clarion call on that is on us. And we have to agree to be told, even us, when we are doing that and setting the boundaries. But also we have to be open to hearing, so that people in our spaces don't have to raise their voice for them to be heard. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that.
Absolutely. Just to chime in, I mean, I really, the question was apt. I mean, thank you, Ms. Leah, for asking that question. And I couldn't agree more with what fellow panelists have said, and also Dr. Caro mentioned. Really, this thing boils down to how we show up as parents. Actually, I like the line that that says, it's almost like your child is telling you, Dad or Mom, what you do is too loud in my ears. I can't hear your instructions. How do we model that? Of course, the part of instructions are very important, but really they see, they smell, they taste everything that we do. They can easily tell that, hey, Dad or Mom, even you, or here you've just misbehaved, or you've shown disrespect to someone. So really it's down to how we show up. And I love something that Dr. Carol has been very big on. If you're to help a child or our children, we have to help our parents, because it's us parents who are providing that environment for them to learn certain values. And therefore, it has to start with us. It has to start with us. So really, but at the same time, we have to ensure that our kids are confident, because that's another character strength that is so important for them to navigate life. So drawing that line, knowing what is confidence and what is disrespectful is also very important. And it's now then a place of how do we train them in this place. I love what the Bible says. If you subscribe to faith as a Christian, we have to train our children in the way they should go. Train them up in the way they should go, so that when they grow up or they grow old, they will not depart from it. Includes how do they respect seniors, their teachers, and just, their peers. That respect for me. So modeling, for me, modeling is so key. So we have to really do it, as has been said. Thank you.
Elijah. Wangari?
Yeah, I think actually Elijah's really touched on what I really wanted to say, but just to add on what he was saying is, yeah, definitely we have to really model what positive confidence looks like, and at what point it becomes arrogance. And I had a quote I wanted to read. Confidence is believing in yourself, while arrogance is telling others that you're better than they are. While confidence inspires, arrogance destroys. Now, even having said that and talked about how we can model positive confidence and how we can model respect for our children, I think a thing I really wanted to say was we also have to be very self-aware. Sometimes what my daughter is saying comes off as disrespectful, not because she's being disrespectful, but because she's saying something I don't want to hear. Sometimes you have to be very aware of that, where it is actual disrespect and where it's something you're struggling to hear, or where they're calling us out on our weaknesses. And now we are taking it as, that's now disrespect. How can you talk to me like that? How can you ask me that? And it's because even you in your space, it's kind of touched the wrong corner, and now you're feeling a bit more seen. And sometimes it's okay for us to just be human and see where, we're being very clear. We are not just saying, I think a lot of millennials grew up in that space where sometimes your parents called you disrespectful for asking questions or calling them out on where they are modeling the wrong behavior. And now it's like you're a very disrespectful child. So I think it's, as parents, we have to be very, very aware of what we are modeling and also what we are calling disrespect, and we have to have our values clear with our children. Yeah.
Absolutely. And sometimes you're calling out the disrespect in your child disrespectfully. And so you double up on it. You're saying this is disrespectful, but you're being very disrespectful about it. I think bottom line is, whatever it is you want to teach your child, step back with a lot of self-awareness, create time to teach it. Wanjiro is asking, could it be we are teaching confidence but not enough humility?
Sure.
Halima, you wanted to say something?
Yes, confidence and disrespect vary from community to community, also religion to religion, and from one environment to another. How it is said, where it is said, if it is verbally done, matters a lot. You know the footprint of your child, and you can judge and say when it is disrespectful or when it is confidence. Certain level of confidence can lead to rudeness if it supersedes some levels. If in your homes you have agreed on certain level and you already set the standard of how to respond to it, don't hesitate, like Dr. Caro said, to tell the child that you feel, again, not responding in anger, to say calmly, I feel this is like that. Keep quiet at that moment, then respond in another moment and understand from this child, you know, what is happening in your home is in your home, but there is a lot outside there. Maybe they copied from elsewhere, that saying no, you know, even the tone matters. But you can again repeat patiently, but your tone, and then the child will become conscious. And next time, not repeating. Not forgetting consistency of repeating the values you want. Maybe the child is saying it just today, don't give it a chance to happen another day. If it also depends with the age of the child. If a child is young, like 10 years and below, maybe sometimes we laugh and say, the jokes too, unaacha hivyo, you leave it like that. Next time, the child will normalize and repeat. So cut the line, draw your line, and know when to respond and in which tone. And also importantly, understand the age of your child. Sometimes adolescent, because of hormonal changes and apassadness here and there, they can say things in a way that may feel to you it's rude, but because of the biological factors here and there, to them it may not sound rude. Let them be confident, but also responsible. Thank you.
Thank you. I think bottom line is when we are connecting with our children, we are actually able to tell those thin lines of disrespect coming through. And it gives you more confidence in calling it out because you know that we are connecting. There's a level of connection that we are having that no, this is not acceptable. But when we are not connecting, a lot of guilt can check in and then you get triggered. And because of the guilt that is triggered when they misbehave, you tend to react to the tone that you're hearing. So thank you all. Thank you, Halima. Thank you, Wangare. Again, thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Elijah. Thank you, Jackie. I really appreciate. Thank you, Emily, as well. And thank you everybody here for being and participating. And I want to end this session. If you want to remain for a little bit more, just to continue having a few more questions here and there, you can do that. But we have come to the end of the session.